Hello, welcome to episode 164 of We Have Issues. I'm Anthony.
I'm Stevie Wildcard.
And I'm Rebekah Hamrick.
And every week, Steve Wildcard and I get together with Rebekah Hamrick and we do this whole show about having life issues and making comic book issues. And so far, things have been going. Steven, my life is spinning out of control. The last couple of weeks have been a mess. I'm trying to dig my way out of it. I'm getting out. It was a whole Friday the 13th. I was sick, and then I was stalked, and then there was doxing, and then all this drama. And now it's almost Halloween, and I was like, I need to shake myself out of this by not talking about me anymore. What can we do? And you were like, I know what we do. We talk about someone else. I was like, impossible, Steven. I'm a crazy narcissist. I refuse to talk about anyone but me. And you begged me, and you were like, okay, I'm going to quit the show if we don't have someone else on other than you. And I was like, okay, fine, we'll do it. And then I was like, okay, I'll only do it if we have Rebekah. Rebekah, we've met you at the convention years ago now.
So many years ago.
We've been best friends for
long time best friend.
So for those of you who don't know, Rebekah is an incredible author of a wide array of books, ranging from like incredible, hilarious sci-fi, fantasy, fun books, to zombie books, and even books with alien dicks, right? Like that, as far as I know. Rebekah, it's wonderful to have you. Will you please tell people a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I write under RM Hamrick for things that are non-dick adjacent.
And how do we find those dick books though, like real quick?
Yeah, the dick books. Reverie Hardwood is what I write under. I've made him family safe.
I feel like you missed a D there. Like it's hardwood for sure, right?
It is hardwood. Yeah. But no, I had to really rein it in when it came to the names. Like I could be anything.
Yeah,
I had to be hardwood.
I'm really interested in that. Oh my god. Okay. Ooh, let's just get into that real quick. How did you come up with that? Like, did you have other? Was it like a Simpsons situation where it's like you could be Chesty LaRue or Hootie McBoob? Like, is it? How did you choose your name?
Dick McDickface. Yeah. No, I brainstormed, and I finally had to give myself rules. I was like, I want it to be similar to. I wanted it to be symmetrical on the book cover. Like you get to design your own thing. So Rebekah Hamrick and Reverie Hardwood are kind of like an alliteration. It's kind of similar. Mm-hmm. And I figured if I kind of kept it within the same letters that maybe I'd respond to it.
Oh, okay. Nice. People are talking about me again. Here we are. This would be like alien dick lady. Oh yes, that's definitely me.
Reverie Hardwood right there.
That's amazing.
My if I was writing, alien dick books, it would just be Stephen Jod. If anyone knows how I change my name, it's just one letter. That's it. Just flip the T to a J.
Steven's doxing himself on digital chess games right now. That's what he's doing.
But the Todd would work really well too. Just the Todd.
The Todd. The Todd is Todd.
The Todd cubed. Okay, so it's pretty interesting. Like you write a whole series of books. What is it, the Adelan Adventures?
Mm-hmm.
Am I saying that right?
Yep, that's my kind of Golden Girls in Space. It's an all-female space crew.
Okay, I was gonna say, I like that. I'm sure that would totally sell it for a lot of people. When I was reading it, I wasn't immediately thinking Golden Girls, but I really like the world that's set up almost immediately. And that, like, you did such a good job. Like, go check out those books. I have all of them, I think, or I have most of them at least now. But yeah, go check them out. All the links are below. They're really interesting. The world that you're building, you do a really good job. We talked to other friends about this, but like you do a really good job at like building a world subtly within the text without overwhelming people with like exposition. Like I didn't feel like it was like 7 pages of what the spaceship looked like. You were just like, this is important details for right now with a little like spice, and I like that a lot. But yeah, those books are great. What made you want to use a pseudonym with the alien dick books though? Why you don't feel comfortable, or was there a specific reason?
I think it was more just audience expectations. I didn't want people to just pick up an RM Hamrick book. I think it's the same one as, I mean, you can tell by the cover, I think, but...
Where's that funky bass coming from while I'm reading this?
But at the same time, this Adelan adventure book, I've been asked if it's middle grade, and I've also been asked if it's tentacle porn.
And the answer for both is maybe.
Whatever sells the book, right?
Whatever, yeah.
It's a basically choose your own adventure. I mean, you just kind of jump to the tentacle chapter if that's what you're into.
Oh my God. That's just all of life. Is it tentacle porn or is it middle grade sci-fi fantasy? Ooh, it's a little questionable.
I've been drinking this evening. Let's go to the tentacle chapter.
So okay, so Rebekah, the whole concept of our show is we talk about our various issues that we have while we're creating things. So before we get into some of the other things that we're like dying to talk to you about, for those of you who don't know, Rebekah is a zombie expert. She's written zombie books, and she is, as I'm aware of, she has her like master's degree or even doctorate in zombieology.
Well, I have a degree in biomedical engineering.
Yeah.
So I actually build them from a more of a machine style.
There you go. That's pretty impressive and incredible. And
so it's more like modern day Frankenstein zombies, is what you're telling me.
Steven, we're gonna get there. Let's we have a whole song to do before we get to that segment. But before we get there, we're gonna talk about Rebekah's issues a little bit. So we talked about our issues like previously on Anthony's Life. I was doxxed and had this whole drama and all this stuff. And we talked about all my issues. Steven, we talked about his issues, and he's like, I'm happily married and I'm smart and I'm funny and my hair is like that of a god. And he's like, oh, I'm hung like it's ridiculous. And he just keeps so like Steven has issues too. We all have issues. So we were like, okay, we have a guest on, and obviously to your comfort range, but like, what sort of issues do you deal with as a creative person, as a creator who's publishing and going out to conventions and that sort of thing? Like, what do you deal with on the day-to-day, right now?
Right now it is really weird for me because I've got this magical life like Steven does at this moment where I was
working off the call real quick. Hang on. Yeah, let me just get everyone off the call.
Can't be too friggin' happy people on this damn podcast.
But don't worry about it.
Overwhelmed with happiness. I have issues, everyone. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But no, the thing is I still have crippling anxiety.
Yeah.
I feel
so
that.
It's all the happiness and stuff, but then all the guilt.
Yeah.
So, because what I'm doing, I worked in the medical field for a decade, and I eventually built a business there, and then I sold that business and moved to lovely Florida. And I am well into 2 years of an adventure of trying to write full time. So it's everything I dreamed it would be, and it's absolutely terrifying as well.
Well, that
probably means you're doing it right, though, right? I mean, to some extent, I would think.
Yeah, of course. So, okay, I'm sure a lot of our viewers and like our friends, they're all creative people as well who like make things, and like even like Steven and I, we're trying to dip our toes into that. We're trying to find a way to make, to create that path, toward doing it full time for ourselves. So, like, what was that like for you? Was it the cushion of selling your previous job that allowed you the comfort to, take that leap? And even without that, like, are there some things that you've done that you would suggest maybe others would try, like Patreon and that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, coming at that from a like emotional standpoint, like, yeah, like having that safety net helped, but at the same time, like there's like, I don't know if it's like a poverty mindset that I started with, that like any money that I have, I feel like is zero money.
Yeah.
Like this is the emergency fund. Nobody, like, I don't ever dip into this ever again. But that's, you got to take risks.
Yeah, that's what you did, right? Like that's, I mean, like that money is so that this Rebekah can enjoy herself while trying to become an author. Like, well, you are an author, but while trying to like make money from being an author to a degree to which you don't have to worry about tapping into said emergency fund, that's what it was for, right? I mean, like, you just got to remind yourself that, hey, this is for me to enjoy and me to love.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can always go back to work.
That's true. Okay, so I know you do have a Patreon because I am subscribed to your Patreon, and like we've talked a bit about that. Is there something you found was like something you could share with people that's beneficial to help people grow their Patreon followers, or like just get the word out there and get people's interest up a little bit?
Yeah, I would say to Patreon is definitely one of the things that really helped me understand that maybe this could be something that I could make a living off of, because Patreon is like the monthly subscriptions. And so that you have this kind of set income that's coming in, and you can kind of, I was able to see it more as a business.
Yeah.
Like, this is how much money is coming in, and this is how much money I need to spend on a cover. This is how much money I need to spend on editing, and then shows and things like that. But yeah, I would say, like, to reach out to the people who have liked your stuff. And a lot of times I think on, for me, for Patreon, they want to support me as a person, as an author, and whatever it is that I'm writing.
Yes.
So if you can find those fans, and then a lot of Patreon is like connecting with people. And I mean, I think what we did was, and I've done with other authors, is, hey, I'll support your Patreon page, you support my Patreon page, and it creates that social support and representation,
connections.
That's interesting. And like, it also, it kind of like, in a silly way, validates it for other people who will see it, because they'll see like, oh, this person already has 5 Patreon supporters, that means it's probably active enough for me to want to support it. And they, it lends that credibility to it. Whereas like, even if something is totally credible and like doing their due diligence and their work and giving as much as they possibly can, if someone sees that they have no previous supporters, they're like, I wonder why. Maybe they're not doing anything, or maybe they suck and I don't want to support them. I'm not like that. Steven's not like that, but some people are. So it's nice to see when you see those numbers increase, just like our show, where it's like, we try to get people to subscribe, because when people see the subscriber numbers higher, they're more likely to give it a chance. They give us that's why I'm scared, because I'm like, oh, this is someone's first episode. Oh God, oh no, I'm wearing this gold shirt. Like, what do I do? But it doesn't matter, but anyway, just like, it is good to like create the community, while also perpetuating the like kind of the illusion of like a bigger following, while cultivating a bigger following. And it does help one another. It's kind of cool. So aside from Patreon, I know like you do conventions as well. We do, we've done a few conventions, we've seen you at a couple at least. How's that for you? And like, have you learned anything from those?
So as an author, I started going to conventions, but that wasn't never anything that I was a part of beforehand. And not because I wasn't interested in the geekdom. Like, I do feel at home there, but I'm more of an introvert. So all of these conventions and stuff has really been me dipping my toe in as a vendor or as a guest. I moderated my first panels at Con Carolinas.
Wow. What was that like?
This year? It was nerve-wracking, but a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, you're our expert on cryptobiology, just moderate a panel on that. I'm not an expert on, okay.
I'm glad you brought that up, because you are an expert on cryptobiology, and you're also an expert on the undead and zombies. And I'm glad to have you here for many reasons. We're happy to talk to you. We've been wanting to have you on the show for a while. I actually invited you on the show months and months ago. And I was like, okay, well, when would you like to be on? And you're like, as late as possible, like the last possible date you could possibly have me on. I was like, okay. You're like, I don't want to.
Furthest from this point.
Yeah.
So it's the end of the universe. Rebekah, how have you been? How was life?
The podcast at the end of the universe is where we met. But yeah, you were like, okay, well, since I'm a zombie expert, we can talk near Halloween. That would make sense. I was like, yes, that does make sense, because we love talking about monsters and we love talking about zombies. So Steven, will you please hit us with that incredible Monster Test song that like
sung the same way every time?
Yes.
Tonight we join and gather round fire pits to find the truth about zombies. 'Cause tonight's Monster Test is joined by a wonderful person. Her name is Rebekah. And this is probably one of the weakest songs I've ever done for Monster Test. 'Cause it's Monster Test.
My favorite thing about that was watching Steven get into his head about it, like midway. where he's like, "Oh man, I leaned into like the sensual part, and I
need to bring it home. I need to bring it home.
Bring it home."
You did bring it home, though. I
You did,
appreciate
though.
it.
I thought I brought it home.
Not to mention like dipping Mjolnir like that. I was like, "Ooh, that's gonna be a thumbnail." Like, this is beautiful. So Rebekah. So okay, here I'll say. So every week we get together and we do various segments. We pitch movies and we date robots and we do all kinds of stuff. Sometimes Steve and I get together and we like to talk about our favorite monsters. We explore the mythos of monsters. We talk about what we think a monster is. We ask some questions. We try to get to the bottom of what a monster is and kind of put ourselves to the test. This week we have a zombie expert on. Rebekah Hamrick, you are one of the greatest, like most renowned zombie experts of all time, and we have some questions from our colony for you. Okay, so I want you to answer. Yeah,
so you double dipped this chick.
I did double dip.
Costanza, that son of a bitch.
I did. So this week we have questions from the colony for a monster test. Very first question we have comes from Daniel Quigley. It says, "You found the cure for the murderous part of the zombie nature, but not zombieism itself. So you have a bunch of chill zombies. What would you do with them as a society? What would happen?"
So they are no longer murderous. They've got their own little brain snacks that they're enjoying, they're just chill.
Naturally.
I don't see the difference between that and the world we live in now.
I don't think there is one. I think that already happened. I think like in 2012, the world ended with the zombie apocalypse while most of us were asleep. Like, I think we all got smartphones and we're looking at our phone like, oh, wait, what is it? MySpace left. Oh, no, guess I'm on Facebook. Oh, no. And we're so looking at that. And 2012 happened. We're like, oh, the end of the world didn't happen. But there was this zombie apocalypse that no one told us about. And then most of us were zombies, but then it was kind of cured, right?
Yeah.
Although
we got alerts on our phone about it, I think.
That probably happened.
Can the zombies, like, in this universe that Daniel Quigley has so beautifully and poetically painted, can they eat raisin brains? and it's like, bran flakes that satisfy the zombie brain urge? I think 2 scoops of brains in every box.
I feel like you could, like, I mean, since people obviously get you get lobotomies, there are brain surgeries done, right? Like you can live after some sort of brain surgeries, or some people can. So I can imagine that there are people somewhere just harvesting brain parts for the zombie horde. How much do they really need? It's like a Scooby snack of brain, right? Like it's just like they just need enough to get by. They don't have to, like, they don't really need muscle, do they? They just move on their own anyway.
It's just magic, really. It's magic or like virus.
Oh, okay. That being said, I know there are a couple
virus power.
Okay, so speaking of that, producer Sean asked us, from a scientific perspective, what's the most plausible explanation for reanimating the dead, and how close are we to achieving it?
So I guess I will go with what I wrote a book on.
Yes, please.
So in my book, they are viral. It's a virus. It's a medically induced zombies. So this disease comes in usually, from the traditional methods, but it shuts down some of the higher neurotransmitters, and only your basic parts of your brain are functioning. So they're able to adapt, and so that's why you're able to move and walk, but you don't really have, that higher brain function.
It's almost like instinctual, like what like man would be without any of its imprints throughout like the years of society, basically.
Right. So it's like unconscious man, basically. Interesting. Speaking of, before we get to the next question, your zombie book is really interesting because, I mean, for many reasons, but from what I read, there are basically like collectors that go around tagging the loose zombies as if like bounty hunters who are going to cash them in for money, right?
Yeah. Yes, our main character is a zombie tagger. And so it's been 10 years after the zombie apocalypse. People are just kind of chilling in their new villages. We're getting by. And this big corporation announces a cure. And so now, if you remember where you left your loved one, they could be cured and they can be brought back to normal functioning life. And so our main character, Audra, she goes out and she goes and finds people's lost loved ones for them and brings them back for money. And
Yes.
she's doing that to try to earn a cure for her sister.
Yeah, and I like that she's like deeply in debt, but from this like this company that she does this for, she only gets paid so much, but they take money from her to get the money out. It's all this, this whole situation. I also my favorite part so far from what I read in the book was that she was like, you don't want to get bit because if you get bit, you will turn into one of these things yourself. So they like some people opt to take out the teeth of the zombies that they capture, and then like once they get brought back, they can get dentures. That was really interesting. I love that. So that okay. We're gonna get back to the questions from the colony, but I have a question myself. So in your world as a zombie expert, and I'll even say like go to your book. Let's just say those teeth that get taken out. If someone took those teeth and made like brass knuckles out of those teeth and punched someone with the zombie teeth, would that person then become a zombie?
It depends if there's any viral load on those teeth.
So are you saying, okay, so is it salivation based? Like, is it, it's just any DNA? Is that what it is?
Salivation, blood.
Okay. How long would it take for those particular fluids to dry up in an undead corpse, do you think?
Inside the corpse? It depends on your outside environment, right?
Yeah, I'd imagine. Yeah, of course.
I mean, if they're not drinking their 8 to 10 glasses of water a day, it's going to be like 3 days to 7, right? 3 to 7 days.
Someone else.
You're in Central Florida. It's so humid.
You're just moist all the time.
We're always moist. We'd just be a bunch of like bog zombies, right? Just like, let me see.
Swamp things. They call the Florida zombies swamp things.
Swamp things?
With the A. 4 A's actually. It's swamp things.
Okay, this is okay. I was looking for this question. Lost Between Worlds. Our friend Edwin asked, how long would survivors have to hold out until the zombies finally decompose and reduce to nothing? Like, how long do you think?
So I imagine we're talking like Night of the Living Dead zombies, right? Like ones that come from the grave and are already like rotting corpses, like that kind of zombie infection.
Well, I imagine like, because no matter what, are the zombies because. In your world, are they dead people or are they just simply sick people? They're sick people, right?
They're sick people,
right? Yeah, because like most of the time in most fiction, they're dead people being brought back, so they're undead. But in your world, just like a 28 Days Later situation, they're sick people. They have some sort of infection, which I still think of them as zombies because if you don't have like the cognitive, if you're not a conscious human person, you're essentially a zombie anyway. That's. It's interesting what makes a zombie. So like, how do you differentiate like zombie from undead, or do you see them as the same thing anyway?
No, I mean, I think you got to pick your rules until we see different versions of zombies in real life. We're not going to be able to say, oh, this is proof positive. This is what this is going to be like. In my book, it is based on because it's based on corporations and stuff, it's based on money. So how well was this body preserved, the sick person preserved? Were they hanging out in a house or were they out in the woods? And then how much money do you have for skin grafts, for dentures, for hair plugs?
It's a good market.
If you've got money, you can really doll somebody up. So
fix that zombie.
Steven, fix me. Would you fix me? Steven, would you make me look good? Like,
what Anthony, I wouldn't have to do much, but yes, any additions that needed to be added, you'd probably need things subtracted from you. I would probably
don't bring me back. Like, don't mentally bring me back. Just make sure you get me. Like, tag me, get me home, but just leave me as like the weird zombie. Like, just hang out with me.
This guy is so much happier now that he doesn't have to worry about stuff. Like this is him. This is his zen. Okay.
You just cut into my zombie brain and I only think about parking. That's all I think. I cry the whole time. I'm dead inside. Just dying.
Like they start administering the cure. And you're like, oh no, where am I gonna park?
Wait,
oh no. Reverse the cure. Reverse the cure. Let him be at peace.
So eBunny061 Ebony asks, how does one become an expert on zombies? How did you become an expert on zombies?
I went to school and didn't read the things they told me to read, and then I gave them a lot of money.
Excellent. That's how most of our experts become experts. I prefer it that way. If you read the things they want you to read, you're an expert on, the reading. And they're like, who wants that? It's not the reading test, it's the monster test, right? So All right, let's see. So we have Daily Downing says, I read in a young adult horror novel about a zombie that has eyes and mouth sewn shut. I'd never heard of that. Any ideas what some lore on that might be? Do you know anything about the zombie lore? Like, let's talk about that because I think there's another question about that. Do you know where zombies come from to begin with?
Well, that feels like a history lesson. And I feel like when you're doing that, you're getting into the reanimation of corpses more so of voodoo.
I was gonna say, well, yeah, it's a little bit of everything because I think it started in Haiti, right, where it was kind of like a metaphor for slavery and like that sort of that situation. And then there was even some, like you were saying, like voodoo, where it was like, are they really ever dead, or are they just kind of lobotomized via this series of things that we've done to this person, like drugging them and such. But then after that, you get into like the movies where like it's more like science-based, like Frankenstein, like, oh, can I use technology to bring this creature back to life, and then it's the real like modern undead zombie came with George Romero, right, which is like the Night of the Living Dead in like 1968 or so, like around that time. George Romero came out and just like, that's the origin of the undead zombie. I don't know, the first time I saw a zombie similar to like what you're saying, where it's like a sickness, mine was 28 Days Later. That was the first time I recall seeing like a unconscious like creature of a human being who's just simply sick. I mean, there are other creatures and other goblins and such. Like I mean, vampires in general have been like that for a long time as well. Or it's like they were human, but now they are a type of human that now need a specific thing to live. It's like gremlins. Now they have rules. They can't go out of sun.
Can't feed them before midnight.
That's right. I think we just cracked the case that gremlins are just vampires that are cute.
Reverse vampires.
But when's the first time you saw it? Like, or like what made you lean into the sickness rather than the undead?
I think it was the fact that I started reading zombie books and I couldn't find the zombie book that I wanted to read. It was always about the first night of what's a zombie? How do we kill a zombie? Right. And I really wanted to know what happened like 10 years, 20 years later. What's going on? And kind of The Last of Us was the first time that I really got to see something that was post.
Yeah. Post.
Like what's going on?
Post Malone.
So
that's what we call like way into the future. It's the
post Malone era.
Post Malone. No more face tattoos. It's crazy. I don't know what happens, but something happens in between now and
he says all tattoos.
He says all. I'm ink. I am a bottle of ink.
He has so many tattoos. You think he has no tattoos? I like it. All right, let's see. Okay, so we have Dina asks, does Chili's have beans or brains? It's a legitimate question. You have to answer it.
So in said zombie apocalyptic wasteland, does Chili's swap their infamous beans or their famous beans very famous beans with brain bits? Like, are there loaded nachos topped with shredded cheese and brain?
To that I would respond. My sister wanted me to name the book instead of Chasing a Cure. Not everybody is cooking gravy.
Not everybody is cooking gravy.
I like it. It sounds like a Fall Out Boy song, and I'm
It's actually one of my tweets, though. It wasn't a Fall Out Boy song.
But
we are just one Fall Out Boy song. This whole podcast.
This whole podcast is one Fall Out Boy.
In an infinite universe, there's an entire universe that exists from start to finish just to label us a Fall Out Boy song, and that's pretty crazy to know if you really think about it.
We're just in the parentheses part of the Fall Out Boy song. The afterlife is what came before and after.
Fall Out Boy is actually who destroys like the Matrix like universe, because what happens is the song titles compound on themselves, and eventually like the computer can't keep up.
Oh my god. Okay. Let's see. So we have
in the form of a bucket.
In the form of a bucket.
So NJ Alexander asks, would a zombie prefer spiced human or not?
Ooh. I think it would vary from zombie to zombie, right? Like some zombies would dig it. Some would be like, ooh, that's a little It's a little outside of my wheelhouse. Do you have any ranch dressing to cool this bad boy down?
Some chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
I only eat white boys. Plain chicken nugget white boys.
No. I can't say that. Oh God. Okay, let's see. Okay, Jess, whom I love, one of my best friends on Twitter asks, do zombies have a sex drive? I just want to ask something new and unexpected. Do zombies have a sex drive? Especially, okay, if your zombies are just sick and they're not undead. Because I get the undead ones are just like, I've been brains. I have one specific thing that I'm alive for. But the sick ones, do they have a sex drive if they're just like all id? Like if they're all like dry?
I would think so, right? Because that's a very basic instinct.
Yeah. I mean,
so the children birthed between two with that virus, would would the child be, I mean, I guess, right? Most viruses transfer like that. Like I would imagine if they're transferring through saliva or
little baby zombie.
I'm just imagining a zombie eating.
Oh, yeah, you are. Right?
Never mind. Never mind.
It's aggressive. It could go from like sexy to extremely violent so fast, you know.
I mean, they're never not into it though. Like they're always like
either way.
But you don't want it. There's a lot of teeth going on, right? Like you don't want to deal with that situation.
I hope all you listeners at Patreon love this very exclusive little piece because I know Anthony's gonna edit it out.
Elvira Khan for VP as soup as I don't know what it says. Asks, what is their opinion about type 1 diabetics being resistant to zombie conversion due to the zombie virus disguising as surface to be let into cell walls? What do you think? Do people with type 1 diabetes are they resistant to the zombie outbreak for whatever reason?
I don't have anybody who's resistant, but that is partly of how kind of the cure is established, is the fact that it attracts the zombie virus to attach to it instead of the neurotransmitters that it feeds on.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
So they definitely have to, whatever drug or resistance would have to be something that deals with the blood-brain barrier that's able to go through that. And would you like me to say any more goobly gawk?
A little bit. Well, what I'm curious about, I don't want you to spoil anything, but like, I'm trying to think of how to ask this question without spoiling your books. Are the books finished, or is that series completely finished? Okay, and like, so you have a whole resolution to whatever the stories. I do want to ask, I know how to ask this question. Do you in the story come to a conclusion on the big world problems or specifically the small world individual story problems?
You are never quite sure.
Okay.
To be honest, because the big bad is a corporation, and this is a big global corporation that had taken over transportation and healthcare and all that. But we're looking at just one story of one woman. Cool. And the things that she's dealing with this corporation. It's like a microcosm. She doesn't know how global it is.
Right. But that's fair. I like that though. It's like OCP from RoboCop. That's what it reminds me of. Like just like if maybe your book's like in the RoboCop verse, it's just a little bit later. It's like now there are zombies and it gets worse and they are worse. Okay, so we have one. Hang on, let me make sure. Okay, we already talked about the lore. Jenna Cat asked us about the lore, but we got into that a bit. One last question that I have to ask, because if I don't, he'll kick me off of Critically Stupid. Go check it out. Links below. But Alexander James, the DM for Critically Stupid, asked, can they still get erections, or is the blood loss is it a blood loss thing? And we kind of covered it, but like in your book, do you go into it at all?
In the book, no, but I actually had this discussion earlier today.
I feel like Reverie Harwood needs to write a story in this universe so we can get to the dirty details of zombie erections. Okay, so I think we know for a fact that your zombies get erections. Do you think that other, like the undead zombies, would get erections, or do you think, because obviously like, there's a rigor mortis situation for a while, right? Rick and Morty situation.
But But like, okay, let's just say, what is it like? Five. I don't know. I don't know exactly how long. I'd say okay, 11. Let's say like 12 weeks. 12 weeks it would take a body to like decompose enough to be weird, right? Like it would just be kind of like mush at that point. Like with like just the element, depending on the weather, like you said earlier, you know. But like in most cases, we'd be like close to bone, and like we'd have like probably vultures and stuff picking at us as you know like the zombies as they walked around. So I don't imagine there would be a lot of boners going on. I don't think there would be, you know, like it would be pretty rare to see like a zombie OnlyFans.
However, I have to say I'm actually kind of disappointed that there aren't more tent poles going on in zombie movies, because I feel like some of them would have to. Like,
oh god, oh no,
look at that, like throw the ring on the zombie. Like, why is no one playing this game?
I think that really is an underrepresented aspect of zombies. Like I know, like Rebekah did say, like, and you're right. You do see a lot of like early on in a zombie infestation, a zombie apocalypse situation, especially recently or in recent years. We see like the like really quick, like scary, like right away. Oh my god, what do I do? I'm in my room and there's a zombie. You know, like, and that's cool. I like that, but like we don't see a lot of like just like not deteriorated zombies, just like people who are dead who are just like, yeah, I had a heart attack, like just like
just on my recliner still.
Yeah, I think that's how, I mean, the majority of zombies, like the majority of people as zombies wouldn't be able to make it out of a coffin. There's just no chance. Like the likelihood of a zombie as we see them in the Romero movies making it out of the coffin and like no, they would like completely destroy whatever was left of their body, you know, like how would they get out of the coffin in the first place? Like if I've watched those Mythbusters episodes, it's not happening with a zombie, right?
Me as a zombie in that coffin.
Just kill Bill. Steven's having flashbacks of his time on the mountain with Paimei, just like no,
that's
like,
when you need some of those things that we did when we weren't sure that bodies were dead, where you've got like the ring system, the bell system, like so that you can announce that, hey, actually, get me out of here.
Ooh, that just sparked an awesome idea. Like, imagine like a Western setting, like, you know, back in like the Wild Wild West, or like back when they used to have the bells tied to the, so like the entire place has like the bells tied down, you know, and like that's like the first sign that something's amiss in the world is all the bells are chiming in the graveyard at the same time. That's like, wait, what's going on? And then like, oh, like and then they do Thriller, and it's just before Michael Jackson. Long before Michael Jackson's there, he teleported.
I like that, like we ended up in a Western zombie story while you're dressed with a cowboy hat on.
So I want to tell you why I decided to be Cowboy Thor. Because I wanted to wear this Thor shirt in particular, but because of my line of work, look at that farmer's tan I got going on, right? Like, you see it? The white, the white of my arm, like how white.
I do see it.
So I was like, you know what? I got the farmer's tan. I got to be Cowboy Thor. Like I'm wrangling screaming llamas. That was in the last.
Steven, okay, so when I asked Steven to put on I asked Steven if he had a costume ready, knowing he would. I knew he would have costumes. And Steven was like, "Oh, I have a Thor costume and a cowboy hat and a Power Rangers and a Power Rangers mask." And Steven, I said, I text you back and I said, "It's Thorfinn time, partner." And I never laughed at a dumb thing I said more than I laughed at that. I was like, "It's Thorfinn time, partner. I'm the funniest person alive. You can tell me I'm funny." And Steven just said nothing for like the next 10 minutes. I was like,
so prior to him saying all these amazing puns, he's like, "Can you be ready?" And that was sent to me at 5:58. And I looked at my messages at 7:30. And I was like, oh crap. I'm like, you gotta text me if I'm not responding.
Yeah, I was trying to get Steven. I was trying to see if we could do this earlier. And I was just like, oh, okay, I guess not. I guess no one loves me. That's okay. But okay, let me see. We talked about your issues. We talked about some of your books. So this week, Rebekah, you have a special going on with one of your books, at least, maybe more. Will you tell us a little bit about that book and about what's going on?
Yeah, so if you are interested in the Chasing a Cure book, the zombie book that we've been talking about, it is for free as an ebook on Amazon. As you are watching this through the weekend. So, and I also have, if you're interested in Alien Dick, the Alien Romance book under
Yes, what's that
Reverie
called?
Hardwood. It is called My Alien Prince.
Oh, yes, please. Okay, so all the links are going to be below. Do they have to know anything to get it for free, or like it's
No,
just going to be
no,
available?
as long as you can buy something on Amazon.
Oh, that's super sweet. Yeah, go check out all the links below. I'll also have Rebekah's Patreon and your. Yeah, I had her send me all the links, so they're all down there. Go click on them. Rebekah, it's been awesome talking to you. We end every episode with talking about what we're gonna do this week. So like, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna like? You're gonna overcome some issues, whatever issues you have. Even though you have a perfect, wonderful life, and I'm happy for you. I'm not at all jealous. I'm just happy for my friends. But what are you gonna do this week with your wonderful life that I don't have? That you're just rubbing in my face in my own show?
Yeah, I'm gonna practice being happy.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's very cool.
And so this week I have a short story that I am gonna edit and revise, and so I'm gonna shop that around after that.
When you say shop that around, what do you mean? You're gonna send it to like what sort of submissions are you gonna do?
Sci-fi magazines. So
very cool.
Yeah, there's one that has a deadline coming up, Luna Station Quarterly, that I haven't tried to shop anything for. Yeah. So I'm going to do that. I've only sold one story to a sci-fi journal, but that was
like
fun.
I've only sold one story. Rebekah, that's amazing. You sold a story to a sci-fi journal. That's freaking awesome. That's cool. That's called a victory and like success in our book, right? Steven, tell her she's amazing. What are you doing? You're failing.
Rebekah, you are incredible. I was actually thinking about how Anthony needs to sing his victory song where it says victory over and over again. But he's not going to sing it because he forgot it. This was a real song he used to say. Victory, victory. Remember that?
Victory, I do remember that. We made
victory.
Wow, Steven, that's a deep.
That's a deep dive.
That's a deep cut in our lore. So there was, I used to make these silly videos. There was this thing years and years ago. It was just this silly TV thing that like Dan Harmon and stuff. It doesn't matter. There was a thing where they would give you challenges and they'd be like, make a video using only these words, or make a video like this. And there was a video where they're like, or there was a challenge where they said you have to make a video using only one word. So I was like, all right, and I came up with one with the word victory, and it was this whole silly thing about like his brother playing video games, and like all he would say was victory. It was pretty funny. But that's really cool. You submitted and got published, and now you're trying to submit again. That's also neat. But if let's just say doesn't work out for whatever reason, now you have a short story, and then you have a collection of short stories eventually, then you have a book of a collection of short stories, right? Like, is that like, what's the worst case scenario? You are a great writer who has like, you're prolific. Like, what the heck? So much bragging going on. Steven, what are you doing this week?
This week, working on the Game Dragon song to finalize that, working on some of the page thumbnails for issue 3 as well, and then just waiting for stuff to ship. I think the prints do come like the day before or the day of Halloween, so I'm excited to see the Merald prints, as I call them. And then hopefully the acrylic standees come soon. If they take too long to send me just the first 3, we'll have to just see what we do. Maybe we change it up and like swap something out, and then maybe the next Kickstarter will just I don't know what to do with the standees, because we're not going to wait a month for standees. Basically,
no, definitely not. Like my idea is essentially we'll just do like paint, like we'll do pins, and we'll send people like extra posters and extra stickers and stuff, and I'm sure people understand.
We'll definitely compensate for the standees. I just want to make sure everyone we have the books now, like we can literally send
everything.
We're waiting on one of the bonus things, know what I'm saying?
Like, why is that holding us up? It's pretty absurd. But yeah, so this week I'm going to solidify all of the dialogue in issue 3 and just like be done with it. I sent you all of the like basic, like all of the panel work and everything for you to draw, which is I'm super excited to see what you come up with. But that's what we're doing this week. Rebekah, it's been amazing talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Do you want to pitch your stuff to the people one last time before we get out of here?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been so much fun watching you guys on your podcast for all these years and pretending that I'm friends with you.
Oh, come on.
You're friends with us. You're not? You don't wait, are you saying you're not really friends with me?
Are you coming in December, by the way?
I wanted to know what date you guys are going, and I will pick that date. What
you
guys
day was it?
December 3rd. I think we're doing December 3rd, maybe 2nd.
Is it at Crown Plaza again?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's just that same one that we usually do, but they moved it to I think December 3rd.
Usually it's in November, right? Or something like that. Okay.
There's so many of them now for that one company.
Yeah, we'll probably also do the one in March if they do that again. I think they are, but yeah, tell the people a little bit about yourself and like make sure you do what hit your stuff.
Okay, so I am R.M. Hamrick for science fiction writing and Reverie Hardwood for spicy science fiction writing. You can find them online on websites and Patreon. I'm starting a Patreon for that new pen name. Nice. You probably won't find me on social media, but
no.
You make an appearance every now and then.
Every once in a while.
Yeah, it's rough, and it's been. I mean, I'm not sure how effective it is anymore. Like it's a cluster cuss of nonsense these days. It's really tough, with like the Blue Sky and the Threads and like X and all this. Like everyone's everywhere, and I don't know what to do anymore. That's why we're like, hey, at least we have a podcast, and like 3 people will watch, right? Please, I love you.
We need Ryan. We need Ryan from The Office to create Woof, so it sends the thing everywhere.
Everywhere. Yeah. But no, it's been amazing talking to you and having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Steven, is there anything you want to say to people before we go?
As per usual, I love each and every one of you. You're all incredible. You're all amazing. I hope you all have wonderful weeks and great and even greater weekends.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for making it this far in the show. If you made it this far in the show, I love you. Also, I don't like anyone who can't stop watching before this moment. If you stop watching before this moment, you're not seeing this right now, and I wish a curse on your house. A pox on your people. I hope you become a zombie. I'm kidding. I don't know if there's any ill on anyone except the people who didn't watch the show, like I was previously saying. I'm doubling down on my hatred. No, I'm kidding. But thank you all for joining and being a part of this. We really love you. And go check out all of Rebekah's stuff. She's really cool. We hope we get to see you at a convention, Rebekah, and like get to talk to you and actually like earn your friendship for real, I guess. I'll try harder next time. Not only so I have 2 people who have fantastic lives and relationships and everything, but now one of them isn't even my real friend. I'm learning today.
Yeah, dude, like in my quest log, I have to go back and write mission failed. Like I have to go back and like
every time
give back the XP that I had earned, or I thought I earned, but
we're kidding, of course, but we love you. Thank you so much for going on here. It's been so much fun. We hope to have you back. I started listening to the audiobook of Chasing a Curse, and I've been reading the other stuff, so I like the audiobook so far. It's helpful for me because I can like draw my little thumbnails while I listen. that's good. I do the double duty. But anyway, yeah, we should get out of here. And how am I gonna end this? Okay. But yeah, thank you all so much. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Tell your grandparents, tell your friends, tell everyone you know to subscribe because we need it. But otherwise, I'm Anthony.
I'm Stevie Wildcard.
And I'm Rebekah.
And this has been We Have Issues. See you next time.
Have at thee. Wow.
I knew it.
Perfect.
Steven, it's 164 episodes and I have to do your audio again. I'm gonna voice over whatever you say. I love you, Anthony. I'm sorry that you can't hear me. What? You can't hear me? What's going on? Steven, 2 things. 1, someone's behind
you.
2, yeah. 2. And 2, I can't hear you still. Can you hear me? Do this if you can hear me. You can hear me? Yeah? I can't hear you. What's going on? Something's going on with your mic. What did your children do? I blame the children.
His OnlyFans likes it that way.
Oh, they like him. They like to look at him but not hear him. Same.
Yeah.
So Sean, you enjoy this. You enjoy this, baby.
I'm gonna leave it all in, even this part.
That's what that zombie said when what was just happening.